Where are you from?
I'm from Clayton County, Georgia, Southside of Atlanta.
And what was it like growing up in Clayton County?
I feel like it was it was a cool experience. I feel like it was a mix of everything in a way. It's like we're not real close to Atlanta in the city, so it's like that feeling of like countryness in a way. I feel like there's a lot of hard workers there, so like that blue collar work and dedication of like people being on their grind. I grew up really seeing that. And then at the same time, it's like in 2008, you know, like the housing market crash and stuff. It's like a lot of different characters of different elements of things moving around. You know what I'm saying? People from different parts of the city. So I feel like it's a lot of mix of all kind of stuff in Clayton County. You got good, you got bad, you got the in between. But I never just say like, you know, I'm straight from the streets, it's just all bad. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't do that. But it definitely was a mix of many things that made me be the person I am today.
Mm-hmm. And so what sort of things were you interested in as a child?
Film. I love film. I love anything creative. I used to pretend when I was a kid that I was going to like a inventor like gathering or something. Like I'll take my toys and act like they other inventors, like we all making something. But I definitely love film, man. I love media. My dad was in the music industry, and in our garage was a studio. So my cousins and stuff, they used to come down from South Carolina because where my dad's from. And I grew up around them just making music and just making all kinds of stuff. My mom sings, so anything creative or anything dealing with art, that's mainly what I was just really into. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
so would you say you come from a musical family?
Definitely. Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Musical household. Mm-hmm. And definitely.
And your mom and your dad play instruments?
My dad, he played keys and stuff. My mom sang.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do they make music professionally?
Yeah, my dad actually was signed to Gene Griffin through Universal. He was on Billboard. He done some things. So yeah.
So you grew up in the music industry?
Yeah, around the music industry. Yeah. I would say around it. Yeah. But matter of fact, 2001 is when his album came out and it was on Billboard. I'm born in 2002, so it was like right after. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, but still remnants of all that stuff is definitely around, and that's a lot of the wisdom he's given me and taught me with, because we own the company together for our production company. So yeah. And
so is it one of those things where like he basically trained you to be a musician, like you were practicing since a child kind of thing?
Kind of. What's funny is when I was a kid, right, I have a younger sister too. He tried to teach us both how to play piano. And it used to bore the hell out of me. Like I was not really paying attention. But my sister, she actually was the one catching on and stuff. A little bit of time going later, I turned about 12, 13. It's like I wanted to start making beats and all this stuff. And he was very supportive of me doing that. But he also wanted me to prove to him that I was serious. You know what I'm saying? Because it was like, a lot of kids just say they want to do something. But it's like, when I'm not around, are you still trying to do this thing? Are you the one going and learning stuff on your own? So that was his biggest thing with me, I would say. But it never felt like he was like trying to force me to be a musician, because he'd be supportive of anything that I do that's productive or constructive for me. But he definitely was helpful with me when I was like, yo, that's what I'm trying to do.
So at what point did you release your first song?
Technically, my first song coming out like as me as like H3 the artist. I was like 15, 16, and I put out my first mixtape and all that stuff. I was in 10th grade. But I was making beats, and I had like a decent following on SoundCloud like before that. So yeah, things were going well with that. So I was putting out beats for a while. But like my first song with my vocals on it, about like 15, 16.
Okay, so you first started out as basically a producer?
Yeah, just producing.
And was that a business too, or was it something you were doing for fun?
I wasn't at the point where it was something that I could say as a business, 'cause I wasn't making any money from it. I was just in middle school. I was still like just really learning. But I think I would have got to the point of it being a business. But now me being an artist and producer is the business. Right. So it's like it came together. So yeah.
So you put out your song at 15 or 16?
Yeah.
How did your peers receive the song?
It was pretty good, man. It was pretty good. I went to Morrow High School, and shout out all my people at Morrow that supported me when I dropped it, man. It was pretty dope. We be riding the bus and everybody be talking to me about my album and playing and all that stuff. But at the same time, it's kind of hard to have a breakthrough, because I don't do like what the current sound of music is. I do like something that's a little different. So it's like everybody ain't really trying to hear exactly what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? At the same time. But it's like finding my audience is going to be great because it's like I know they really feeling me because I'm not doing the norm of what everybody else is doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you characterize your sound?
I'd say like soulful, organic, unique. I guess that's how I categorize it. So, yeah.
And so what makes you want to make music that's so different than what everyone else is making? Because, you know, sometimes that people make music because they know it'll blow because of the sound. You know?
Right, that's true. That's a good question. I'd say like, I feel like there's like a void for certain things, and a lot of music that's out is like how you saying people just putting something out that they know gonna blow up. You know what I'm saying? They're not really taking a chance, and I'm willing to take that chance, and I want to be true to myself with my art at the same time. Like when I go in the studio and I start playing the keys, I'm gonna play whatever my hands is like making me play because that's what I'm really feeling as a person. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to copy or just fit in with whatever else is going on. And I feel like, you know, fads and all that stuff, they go out. You know what I mean? So it's like you can have something that was hot for a little bit, and it's like crunk music. You know what I'm saying? It was a time, man, Atlanta is nothing but crunk music.
Why are you coming for crunk?
I ain't coming for crunk music, but it was a time when Atlanta was nothing but crunk music. 2003, if I was like, hey man, I'm about to make a crunk beat, that's just about to sell. You know what I'm saying? But
They still do crunk now, though.
They still do crunk now, but it ain't the exact same crunk.
It's not.
Like it's like Lil Jon is a legend, but it's not a lot of times you hear artists be like, "Oh yeah, I want a Lil Jon beat now," because it's another sound that people are trying to attach to. But then one day this sound too gonna be gone. So it's like if you just going on to what people like and the gimmick,
right?
When it wear out, you gonna wear out. So that's how it goes.
And so after you dropped the song, did you get signed to a label or like what happened?
I stayed independent, but my first ever show I did, shout out to Trill. It was through Soulja Boy's label SODMG. They did a thing for like they were giving out a distribution deal, and I won the competition. And the distribution deal was supposed to be I think was it Sony or Universal, one of those. But I didn't want to go on with that because I wanted to take a different route and stay independent in what I was doing. But that's my biggest thing. I feel like, you know, keeping my independence and my creative liberty to keep doing what I want to do. But I'm not one of the artists to be like, nah, I want to take a deal, because one of the biggest things my dad always tell me is knowing what you want. Like if I walk in a room, I say I want $500,000. They give me $500,000. Then somebody else come in and get $6 million. I can't be mad he got $6 million because I ain't asked for $6 million. I asked for $500,000. You know what I'm saying? So knowing what you want and creative freedom is probably my biggest thing in that. But you know, opportunities gonna come and do what they do, and I just had to weigh them out as they go. So.
Have you faced any challenges in your music career?
I definitely feel like that. I feel like myself, I'm probably my biggest challenge because it's like, you know, just, you know how it is being a creative, like, you know, doubting things, not knowing that this is gonna go or that. And it's just, I feel like that's probably the biggest thing. But I feel like what really helped me as an artist is going out and performing. And then when you perform in front of people and you getting that response, it's like it helps you see more and broaden your mind, you know what I'm saying? So.
What's been the most memorable moment in your career so far?
My first show for sure. Like that's like an extreme standout moment. Honestly, recently the show I just did on Friday, I was telling you about, shout out to the Collab Exchange down at Creative Block in Atlanta. That was really, really dope. We did a freestyle battle. It was a pretty big audience and crowd there, so that was fun. I went out of state a couple times and did a couple shows. Those are memorable moments too, so yeah, definitely.
How do you feel about like the current sound in music?
I'm not one of the people that be like this new music is trash, because all that is subjective, because art is subjective. Somebody hear my music and think it's trash, and somebody hear my music and think it's the best thing they ever heard. So all that's subjective. One thing I will say though, I do feel like there's a lot of artists that's just doing things to fit in, and things are honestly always been like that, but because we got the internet, things get oversaturated, because anybody could pull up they voice recorder on their phone, make a song, and then put it out, right? And that's making the market just be flooded with a bunch of the same thing over and over. So it's like, I feel like more people need to like really just be creative and fully be themselves, or just try something different, not be afraid to fail or be looked at weird, because it's a bunch of artists who, when they first came out, nobody was feeling what they was doing, but they stuck to what they were doing and created, like I said, their niche audience of what they had, and their careers, you know what I'm saying, went to the next level. So I feel like the state of music is good, because there's a lot of, because with oversaturation, you're gonna get good and you're gonna get bad. So there's a lot of great music that's out. There's a lot of music that's just like, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I would just like to see people be more creative and just not be scared to, you know what I'm saying, try anything, you know what I mean?
Are you interested in any other art forms outside of music?
Yeah, film, writing, directing, all that stuff. I actually own a film company with my partner Kofi Huntley called Interflow Studios. We about to start production on our first short film soon.
And what inspired you to go into film?
Since I was a kid, like I was saying, I always just been into film. I used to have when I was a kid, I had a Toy Story DVD, but the DVD had the double on it, like it showed the behind the scenes. I used to watch the behind the scenes more than I watched the movie. So, yeah, so I've always loved it. I had a short, when I was probably like 11 or 12, I used to have like a short animation series I used to do because I had learned to animate a little bit, all kinds of stuff. So I just love creating things and being able to tell stories and entertaining people, because people go through a lot of things in their life. And you know, when you got art or something you can listen to that makes you feel joyful or good, that's great, you know what I'm saying? So if I can be that thing to somebody, that's beautiful.
If you could choose between film and music, which would you choose?
And that's a tough one. I don't know. That's a really tough one. I have my days when sometimes it's like I don't even want to make music, I just want to write something. There are days when I just want to write, but it's all kind of stuff, and I don't really know. It's a water and fire mix. Like it go back and forth. So I really don't know. I don't know exactly, but I love them both.
What's your favorite film?
All time, I'll put in categories. My favorite like action type movie probably be between maybe like Kill Bill and like maybe like Django. I'm a big Tarantino fan.
Okay.
Like offbeat kind of comedy that I like is Scott Pilgrim. Scott Pilgrim's hard. And then serious movie, I like Mr. Church with Eddie Murphy. I don't know, it kind of got slept on in my opinion. It didn't really get enough promotion, but that's a great movie. I really like that movie. So yeah.
How does your musical background influence your work in film?
That's a good question too. I'd say rhythm. Like when you go from making music, in my opinion, you understand the whole thing of like when you're building out a song, the structure of like a hook, like something to keep somebody coming, the verse, the rhythm of music, like drums and all that stuff. I feel like I use that same thing when I'm recording or doing film, and it's like I feel like the film has to be at the same pace that like music would be at. So it's like I'm going to like a tempo in making film. So I feel like that them two things they correlate like that in a common way.
Are you an introvert or an extrovert as a creative?
I feel like I'd be a little bit of both some days, but mainly an introvert. Mainly an introvert. But sometimes I have my days when it's like I want to go out and do this and do that. And then for the most part, I kind of like being a little reserved. But it's like a thing I had to like channel on, because being an artist and being I'm not in a group or something, I'm just one entity. It's like I gotta be the one to promote, be in camera, be on front of the camera and all that stuff. So it's like I gotta turn it on and off.
Was it difficult to transition into film from music?
No, I would say almost in a way I kind of transition more from. Oh wait, you asked from film to music, right?
Oh, I said from music to film.
You said from music to film. I kind of started with film mainly because I used to do stop motion animation and animating all kind of stuff. And then when I seriously got with music, I was like a later teenager. Like my early teenage years, I was doing more film stuff. In my later teen years, I started doing music.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And so how was that transition, though, from moving from, like, you know, making videos to now music?
It was, creative-wise, it was a good transition, but learning how music is made, I didn't get at first. Like, I didn't understand bars, I didn't understand tempo and looping and all that stuff. I had to learn that stuff. So it just took a while to get used to, like, the process of making music and learning what sounds mesh, mixing, all that stuff. It took a while to learn that when I already knew the film thing, like what color grading is and, you know, doing certain type of cuts. I knew all that stuff, but then learning music, it was like another thing I had to learn.
Are there any artists who influenced you as a creative?
I say one, my dad, because his music was always playing around the house. Like, cause like the speaker's big in the house, so it's like they just playing all the time hearing this music. But all the artists, J. Cole, Kendrick, Nas, Kanye, Outkast, there's all that stuff really.
I never asked, what's your dad's name?
Southcat.
Southcat?
Yeah, Southcat.
Okay.
Yeah.
What song, like what was his major hit?
Oh, he had a song with Roger Troutman called Freaky Dreams.
Oh, so he was a singer?
No, he had a rap song, but that Roger Troutman was on the song with him, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, of course, your dad has been your favorite artist.
Yeah. One of them. Nah, I'm playing. Yeah.
What about
I'm
for
just
the
messing with
film? Like, do you have any like directors that you're?
Probably Tarantino.
Yeah.
Another thing too I learned is a lot of production companies that be behind the film getting made, like A24, A24. I don't know if you ever seen them names before, but they do good production. I like their production a lot. So probably like Tarantino, A24, Donald Glover. So yeah.
What is your ultimate aspiration with everything that you have going on now?
To own a pretty big like conglomerate multimedia company like Sony or anybody. Like Sony do music, television, video games, appliances, like all kind of stuff. Anything dealing with media, Sony promotes or pushes. So I want to be in that position where it's like whatever the full name for the umbrella company be, but like Interflow Studios does this and makes movies. Then Osco Films does this and makes media and photography. But then also we make programming thing for video production, whatever, anything, just anything dealing with entertainment. I want to be like the mass production of anything that's needed for each piece.
If you could give one piece of advice to someone who aspires to do what you do, what would that be?
Trust your gut, do what you feel. There's going to be a lot of things that come your way like that might be discouraging. It might be money issues, anything, but just keep pushing and work with what you have and keep just promoting yourself and just stay consistent. That's the main thing. Staying consistent is key. And just believing in yourself, man, that's the biggest thing. I know people always say that like it's just the easiest thing, because it's not. You know what I'm saying? Because you might see 5 other people that took another route than you with something, and you feel like, dang, I need to just go and do what them 5 people did. But you got your own lane that's way bigger than theirs that you can make for yourself. You know what I'm saying? I watched an interview one time with Chico Bean for 85 South, and he was talking about how a lot of artists or creators always be like, I want to be the next this person, next that person. But you as yourself, you might have a lane that you make that's bigger than theirs. You know what I'm saying? Like, people be like he was saying, people be like, they want to be the next Eddie Murphy. But he was like, it's a lane and path Eddie Murphy already did, and then it ends, right? But Chico Bean himself, if you look at the lane he did, he on a podcast and doing all this other stuff as an independent. Eddie Murphy didn't do that, so it's another lane Chico made for himself. And everybody got their own path and lane that they can create for themselves with this production and life, period. So just believing in yourself.